Imagine walking through a cold northern marsh at dawn. The ground trembles beneath your boots. Mist hangs low over the reeds. Then, from the dark brown peat, a face appears. Eyes closed, lips sealed, skin still intact, after more than 2,000 years. This is not fiction. This is one of Europe's most haunting archaeological discoveries. The bog bodies, human beings preserved by nature itself in the wetlands of northern Europe. Bog bodies are natural mummified human remains found in peat bogs across northern Europe. Unlike skeletons from ordinary graves, these individuals retain skin, hair, fingerprints, and sometimes even internal organs. Most date to the Iron Age, the period in which early Germanic societies emerged in regions that are today part of Scandinavia and northern continental Europe. Their preservation is so lifelike that several were initially mistaken for modern murder victims when discovered. To understand the mystery, we must understand the bog itself. Peat bogs are wetlands, formed by layers of partially decayed vegetation, especially sphagnum moss. These environments are cold, acidic, and almost completely devoid of oxygen. The acidity prevents bacterial growth, while the cold slows decomposition. The moss releases chemicals that effectively tan human skin, preserving it like leather. Ironically, while skin survives, bones often do not. The acidic water dissolves calcium, softening or partially destroying the skeleton. This is why many bog bodies appear dark, leathery, and flattened, but astonishingly intact. The chemistry of the peat creates a natural time capsule, sealing individuals away for millennia. Hundreds of bog bodies have been discovered across northern Europe, particularly in modern-day Denmark, northern Germany, the Netherlands, Ireland, and Britain. Many date between 800 BCE and 400 CE, the Iron Age and early Roman period, when Germanic tribes dominated these regions. The majority were uncovered accidentally. Peat cutters harvesting fuel sliced to the bog and suddenly revealed human skin. In several cases, police were called because the bodies looked recent. Only later did scientific testing reveal their true age, often over 2,000 years old. One of the most famous discoveries occurred in 1950 near Silkeborg in Denmark. Workers cutting peat uncovered the remarkably preserved body now known as Tollund Man. His face looked so peaceful that authorities initially suspected a modern crime. Radiocarbon dating later showed he had died in the 4th century BCE. Tollund Man wore a pointed leather cap and a belt. Around his neck was a leather noose. He had been hanged. His eyes and mouth were gently closed, giving the impression of sleep. Analysis of his stomach contents revealed his last meal, a porridge made of barley, flax, and wild seeds. From one preserved body, archaeologists learned about Iron Age diet, clothing, and ritual death practices. Just 2 years later, another extraordinary body was found in Denmark, Grauballe Man. Unlike Tollund Man, Grauballe Man's throat had been cut from ear to ear. His death was undeniably violent. He lived during the 3rd century BCE. Scientific studies showed that he, too, had eaten a simple porridge shortly before death. His hands showed no signs of heavy labor, suggesting he may not have been a manual worker. The brutality of his wounds has led many scholars to interpret his death as ritual sacrifice rather than execution. In 1984, peat cutters in Cheshire, England, discovered another remarkably preserved body, Lindow Man. He lived during the 1st century CE, when Roman forces were active in Britain. His body bore signs of multiple fatal injuries. Lindow Man had been struck on the head, garroted, and had his throat cut, a combination scholars call the triple death. Some interpret this as evidence of ritual killing, possibly an offering to deities. His beard, hair, and even fingernails were preserved, revealing grooming habits and physical health in early Germanic and Romano-British society. Why were these people placed in bogs? Roman historian Tacitus described Germanic tribes performing religious rituals in sacred groves and wetlands. He also noted the traitors were hanged and the dishonorable were drowned in marshes. These accounts align strikingly with the injuries seen on many bog bodies. Some scholars believe the bogs were sacred liminal spaces, boundaries between the human world and the gods. Weapons, shields, and valuables have also been found deliberately deposited in bogs, suggesting offerings. Others argue that some bodies may represent executed criminals rather than sacrificial victims. The truth likely varies from case to case. Beyond their deaths, these preserved individuals reveal daily life in early Germanic societies. Stomach contents show a diet of barley, grains, wild seeds, and occasional meat. Textile fragments demonstrate advanced weaving skills and wool production. Groomed hair and trimmed nails indicate personal care was important. Modern techniques, such as radiocarbon dating, CT scanning, and isotope analysis, allow researchers to determine age, health, geographic origin, and even migration patterns. These bodies provide direct biological evidence that complements limited written sources about early Germanic peoples. When we look into the face of Tollund Man, we are not seeing myth. We are seeing a real individual who lived, ate, and walked the landscapes of Iron Age Europe over 2,000 years ago. Unlike skeletal remains, bog bodies preserve humanity, wrinkles, expressions, even stubble. They remind us that early Germanic societies were complex communities with structured rituals, agriculture, craftsmanship, and deeply rooted spiritual beliefs. Through the chemistry of peat and the passage of time, nature preserved their stories in silence. The peat bogs of Northern Europe still hold secrets. Each discovery forces historians to reconsider what we know about violence, belief, and daily life in the early Germanic world. The bog bodies are not just archaeological finds, they are messages from a distant age, carried through centuries by water, moss, and earth. And somewhere, beneath the quiet surface of another forgotten bog, another face may still be waiting. If you are drawn to the world of the early Germanic tribes, to the age before kingdoms, to the beliefs, rituals, and lives that shaped the Norse world, then this is your place. Subscribe to the channel, join our growing community, and walk with us into the deep past, because the chronicles of the North are far from finished.